Welcome to Jank Play TCG. My name's Landon and here we play Jank. And with me today is Sophie. I tried to get my other dog on camera, but he seems to be a little camera shy. So we got Sophie today. And while we were watching the European International Championships, we saw a deck that really excited us. And that deck came from Gabriel Fernandez. In the seniors bracket, he won the seniors. Congratulations, Gabriel. But also, he had an amazing deck that really spoke to me. It really inspired me, right? And that's why I'm out here instead of eating dinner right now. My wife's cooking an amazing dinner for me. And I wanted to break down this deck, not in functionality, but in cost. So on PTCGL, if you were to build this deck, this deck right here, if you were to build that deck, how much would it cost? So let's go ahead, jump into PTCGL here, and you will see that I have the deck inputted, and I am missing some of the cards, but that's okay. And I'm going to go card by card and basically break down the cost. Now, to get ahead of this, Radiant Greninja, I have no idea how much it costs. I can't click on it and go to anything to try to exchange it for another version to see if there's a cheaper cost or anything. I think it's 600. So we're going to go ahead and start off with 600, right? And then let's jump back to Roaring Moon here, where we go to the reverse holo and we can see the exchange is 400 per card. 400 times 4 would be 1,600 if my math is correct, which I'm pretty sure it is. So 4 copies of Roaring Moon, 1,600. Koraidon, same thing. 4 copies of Koraidon is 1,600. And then Flutter Mane, same thing. 4 copies of Flutter Mane being 1,600. Beautiful. And then we already did Radiant Greninja. And that's all the Pokemon. All the Pokemon put together cost 5,400. Honestly, that's where you're going to be spending the most. Even though it doesn't look like much, especially once we get to trainers, the Pokemon is where you're going to spend the most. 5,400. And I will say a build and battle kit could possibly get you some of these cards. So if you went to a pre-release or are thinking about buying a build and battle kit, highly recommend it. They're a great product. I love playing with them, and it can get you some very important cards for this deck. Next up, I wanted to take a look at energy. And the great thing is, it's all basic, right? It's just basic energy, so you have all that. You don't need to pay anything for it. Let's jump to trainers. And the first trainer we're going to speak of is Professor Sada's Vitality. Fantastic supporter, accelerates energy, draws cards, and it exchanges for 100. But we're playing 4 copies of it, so we're going to add 400 to the total. Next up, we do have Explorer's Guidance, another fantastic card that costs 100. So we're playing 4 of it. Let's add 400. All right, and then I think this one might be a little controversial because they're only playing 1 boss's orders. Now, I see an argument where 2 is going to be better, but I'm going to trust the person that just won seniors instead of the person that's sitting in front of the camera talking about how amazing that game was, right? Clearly, 1 is more skilled in that area. So they ran 1 boss's orders, which, let's see, here's the reverse holo. That's going to cost 400, so we're going to throw on another 400 for only 1 boss's orders. I know it's steep, but you probably already have 1. It just might not be this version, right? Next up, we have Penny, an often forgotten card. I think it's really good. It just lets you pick up a Pokemon and all cards attached and put it into your hand. I'm thinking a high HP Pokemon gets hit. It's got to be 2-hit KO'd though, so you just pick it up and then you can play it back down because it's a basic, right? So Penny, we're only playing 1 copy of it and that costs 100. So let's go ahead and add 100. We're at 6,700 currently, and I think yeah, I think that's it for supporters. So now we're going to jump to what looks like item cards with Earthen Vessel. We're running 4 of Earthen Vessel because we want as many ancient Pokemon as possible. So, or ancient cards as possible. in the discard pile to power up that Roaring Moon, right? So we're playing 4 of these. They cost 100 each. We're going to throw on 400 to the total. Next up, Nest Ball. Valuable card. You probably already have it, but in case you don't, it also costs 100, and we're playing 4 ofs. So we will throw on another 400. Next up is Pokégear. Pokégear is a very common card, and it's going to help you search out supporters. So we are looking at a cost of 40 each, but they play 4 of it. That's 160 credits. Again, if my math is right on that, 4 times 4 is 16. Next up, we've got Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball, highly played card. I got a lot of versions of it, but I don't have one of this version, and that costs 100. And we're running 3 of it, probably to make space for something else, but, you know, maybe you find wiggle room in your own version. I don't know. Gabriel's a pretty good deck builder, in my opinion. So we've got 300 points we're going to throw onto the total. Next up, what do we got here? Counter Catcher. We got 1 copy of Bossasaurus, but 2 copies of Counter Catcher? I could see an argument to go the other way, but I like it. There's 3 switching opportunities in the deck, and that's going to really provide a lot of utility to the deck. Get the KOs you need. They are 100 each, so we're going to add 200 to the total. All right, next up is Super Rod. If you don't got Super Rod, go out and get it immediately. It goes in almost every deck. It only costs 40 credits per Super Rod. They run 2, so that's 80 credits. Let's throw it onto the total. Beautiful. Next up is Superior Energy Retrieval. Only running as a 1-of, which really surprised me. But, you know, there's a method to the madness, you know? That's costing 100 credits. We'll throw on 100. And I wonder if the removing a 4th Ultra Ball opened the space for the Superior Energy Retrieval. But that's a discussion that we can have in the comments. Next up, we've got Pal Pad. Good old trusty Pal Pad. When you accidentally discard a couple supporters, you can recover them with Pal Pad. And Pal Pad costs only 40 credits. Since there's only 1 in the deck? What? Okay, we'll just add 40 credits. Wow, that caught me off guard. I've looked over this and I thought there were 2, but I guess not. Next up, we have Awakening Drum, the Ace spec that is an ancient card as well. Super awesome draw, and it costs 600 credits. That is a big cost, but totally worth it. We'll go ahead and add that to the total. We also have Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. This is a great way to give your ancient Pokemon a little bit more bulk to make Penny more viable. Fantastic card. It's looking at 100 per copy. We're playing 4 of, so that is 400 credits. And then last but not least, we have PokéStop. You might have been wondering, wow, this is a very item-heavy deck with a lot of small counts of particular item cards. PokéStop doesn't care. It will grab you your item cards. And, you know, they're running 3 copies in the deck. The card costs 100. That's 300 credits that we're going to throw on to the total. That is 9,980 credits for this one deck. This one EUIC championship deck. Fantastic. A big shout out to Gabriel Fernandez for winning the tournament and having the deck list out. Like, I found it online super easy, barely an inconvenience, and just a big shout out to them. And the way that they piloted this deck was really amazing. So all props go to them, and honestly, a deck that costs less than 10,000 credits on PTCGL, I think that is something to be excited for. What about you? Let me know your thoughts on the deck, on the pricing, and all that down in the comments. We can also have a general discussion about how good you think this deck is, because I think it is phenomenal. I might build this deck physically. I think it's that good. But yeah, go ahead, jump in the comments with whatever you got. Also, really appreciate it. If you would like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future content I make, and join the Discord, where we have a growing Pauper community, but also just a growing community in general. Fantastic place, fantastic people on there. And of course, until next time, keep playing Jank.